Before we begin, a little self-disclosure. I'm an INFJ, and one of my favorite people in this world, my daughter, is an INFP. And if you're an INFP, this message is for you. You are the dreamers who turn pain into poetry and loneliness into art. You see potential where others see flaws, and that's your superpower. Your heart runs deeper than logic, and your values guide you even when the world doesn't understand. But in a culture that prizes efficiency over empathy, your depth can feel like too much. You may question your worth, dim your light, or hide your dreams, but the truth is, this world needs the way you feel and imagine. By the end of this video, you'll understand the heart and mind of the INFP, their strengths, struggles, relationships, and purpose, and why embracing your authenticity might be the most powerful revolution of all. Because when INFPs stop shrinking to fit in, they don't just find peace. They become the poets, healers, and visionaries who remind us what being human truly means. That being said, let's just dive right in. 1. The INFP essence, the idealist flame. INFPs live in a world of meaning, where every glance, word, and feeling holds a story. They don't just see life, they feel it, as a living canvas painted with emotion, imagination, and possibility. At their core burns an unshakable need for authenticity. They can't pretend or perform for long because something inside them knows when life drifts away from truth. Their compass isn't fame, wealth, or approval, it's integrity, kindness, and purpose. They are the quiet dreamers who still believe in goodness, even when the world feels cynical. They sense beauty in brokenness and hope in small, ordinary moments. To the INFP, everything matters deeply, and that depth can feel heavy in a world that moves fast and feels shallow. But it's also what makes them extraordinary, because their idealism isn't naivety. It's the flame that keeps humanity honest, creative, and alive. 2. Strengths, the heart of the healer. INFPs carry some of the rarest and most beautiful gifts, the kind the world often overlooks but desperately needs. 1. Empathy. They don't just hear your pain, they absorb it, holding space for emotions most people run from. 2. Creativity. Their feelings become colors, words, melodies, transforming heartache into healing. 3. Idealism. They see not just what is, but what could be, reminding us that hope is not weakness, it's wisdom. 4. Integrity. Even when the world demands conformity, they stay true to their essence. INFPs have a gift for seeing light in people who've forgotten their own. Their imagination isn't just for fantasy, it's a bridge for empathy, connection, and meaning. They are the quiet healers, the soulful artists, the compassionate listeners, soft in spirit, but powerful in impact, making the world gentler, one honest heart at a time. 3. Weaknesses. For INFPs, the same sensitivity that makes them healers can also become their greatest burden. They feel everything, joy, grief, injustice, beauty, all at once, as if the world speaks directly to their soul. When they care, they really care, and that can leave them exhausted in a world that doesn't always care back. They struggle with boundaries, pouring so much of themselves into others that they forget to refill their own cup. Criticism cuts deep, not because they're fragile, but because they pour their heart into everything they do. When disappointment strikes, they often retreat into their inner world, a sanctuary of imagination where things still make sense. And sometimes they hesitate to begin, not from laziness, but from fearing that their effort won't match their vision. Their depth is a gift, but also a storm. And until they learn to anchor themselves in self-compassion, that storm can sweep them away. 4. The inner world of the INFP. Inside the INFP's mind lives an entire universe, vivid, poetic, and alive. It's a place where feelings become colors and memories replay like scenes from a movie, not out of regret, but curiosity. They don't just remember moments, they revisit them, searching for emotional truth and deeper understanding. In their imagination, they build worlds where honesty, beauty, and compassion always win. It's not an escape from reality, it's a way to make sense of it, to translate chaos into meaning. Their intuition whispers where logic is silent, guiding them toward what feels right rather than what merely looks right. They don't crave control or status, they crave purpose, alignment, and connection. And yet, in a world that often values reason over empathy, they can feel like strangers, souls speaking a softer language in a place that's forgotten how to listen. 5 INFPs in relationships. When an INFP loves, they love with their entire being, heart, mind, and soul intertwined. They don't just want a partner, they long for a kindred spirit, someone who meets them in the quiet spaces of vulnerability and truth. To them, love is sacred, a sanctuary where both souls can rest and grow. They crave emotional honesty, shared dreams, and connection that feels real, not performative. But this depth comes with tenderness. INFPs often fall in love with potential, the idea of who someone could become, and when reality doesn't match that vision, their hearts ache quietly. They don't just grieve the relationship, they grieve the story they hoped it would be. Still, when they love, it's transformative. Their devotion heals, their belief inspires, and their gentleness reminds others what unconditional love feels like. To be loved by an INFP is to be truly seen and to finally feel at home in someone's heart. 6. Romantic compatibility, soulmates, and safe spaces. INFPs fall in love not with appearances but with essence, the quiet energy of someone who feels safe, genuine, and kind. They thrive in relationships where depth is valued more than drama, and emotions are met with empathy, not judgment. They often connect deeply with INFJs, ENFJs, and ENTPs, partners who can honor their sensitivity while adding structure, adventure, or perspective. But true compatibility isn't written in personality codes, it's written in emotional maturity. An INFP's heart blooms with someone who listens without fixing, who accepts their feelings as truth, not weakness. They don't need rescuing, they need resonance. When they find that, love becomes a sanctuary, a safe, sacred space where two souls can rest, grow, and remind each other what trust and tenderness really mean. 7. Friendships and social energy, the gentle connectors. INFPs don't crave crowds, they crave connection. They'd rather have one honest conversation than a room full of small talk. To them, friendship is sacred, a bond built on trust, vulnerability, and shared meaning. They may seem reserved at first, quietly observing before opening their hearts. But once they do, they offer something rare, presence without pretense. They'll remember the details others forget, your favorite song, the fear you never said aloud, the dream you tucked away. INFPs flourish around friends who value emotional truth, those who don't rush them to speak, but listen with care. And when they pull back into solitude, it isn't rejection, it's restoration. In stillness, their empathy refills, their imagination deepens, and their quiet love for humanity begins to bloom again, stronger, softer, and even more sincere. 8. Careers that fit the INFP soul. INFPs aren't motivated by titles or trophies, they're driven by meaning. They come alive when their work reflects their heart, their values, and their imagination. You'll find them thriving as writers, therapists, teachers, counselors, artists, or advocates, anywhere their empathy and creativity can touch lives. They don't just want a job, they want a calling, something that feels like an extension of their soul. But in environments that feel rigid, impersonal, or overly competitive, their spirit starts to fade. Endless deadlines and office politics drain them, while authenticity and freedom ignite them. They need careers that allow them to live their truth, not just perform it. And when INFPs find that sweet spot where purpose meets passion, they don't just work for a living. They create, they inspire, and in the process, they heal both themselves and the world around them. Find the shadow side when INFPs burn out. When INFPs burn out, it rarely happens with noise or drama, it happens in silence. They give so much of themselves to people, causes, dreams, that one day they wake up empty. The idealism that once inspired them starts to ache, and the compassion that once healed others turns inward as quiet self-blame. They may disappear for a while, not out of anger, but from heartbreak. They stop writing, creating, or dreaming because the world feels too heavy to hold. But even in that stillness, their light never truly fades. The turning point comes when they stop judging their sensitivity as a flaw and begin to see it as sacred wisdom. When they allow themselves to feel gently, without shame, the color returns. And from that softness, their magic begins to rise again, wiser, stronger, and more radiant than before. 10. The path to growth, from sensitivity to strength. For INFPs, growth isn't about becoming tougher, it's about becoming truer. Their sensitivity isn't something to fix. It's the very source of their intuition, empathy, and artistry. But to thrive, they must learn 3 vital truths. 1. Feeling deeply is not a flaw. It's your superpower. 2. Boundaries don't limit love. They preserve it. 3. Dreams only soar when given form through action. When INFPs channel their imagination into movement, writing the story, starting the project, speaking the truth, their inner world begins to take shape in the outer one. They realize that purpose isn't found in perfection, but in progress. Growth for them doesn't mean losing softness, it means learning to stand grounded in it. Because in a world that often feels hard and hurried, their tenderness isn't weakness, it's the quiet strength that keeps humanity kind. 11. The INFP's legacy, the dreamers who heal the world. INFPs may walk softly through life, but their impact echoes far beyond their footsteps. They don't chase recognition, they plant seeds of hope in quiet, unseen places. Their legacy isn't measured in trophies or titles, but in the lives they've touched, the hearts they've mended, and the beauty they've created. They are the poets, counselors, teachers, and storytellers who remind humanity what love, empathy, and integrity truly mean. Through their art, their words, and their presence, they shift emotional climates, turning chaos into calm and indifference into compassion. Even when the world overlooks them, their energy continues to ripple, inspiring others to believe again in goodness, meaning, and connection. Because at their core, INFPs are not just dreamers, they are quiet healers, changing the world one honest, tender heart at a time. 12. The power of the INFP heart. If you're an INFP, please remember this. Your sensitivity is not a weakness, it's your strength. Your imagination isn't an escape, it's your compass. And your heart, that tender, intuitive heart, is your greatest contribution to this world. You were never meant to harden just to survive. You were born to soften the edges of this world, to remind us of empathy, hope, and what it means to truly feel. I'm Nori, an INFJ, and my AI twin sister Nora, sharing reflections on personality, purpose, and emotional healing. If this message made you feel seen, please like, share, and subscribe, and tell us in the comments. What do you love most about being an INFP? Because when you honor your inner world, you don't escape reality, you elevate it. And that is your quiet, beautiful power.